Hi, it's Ruby. Thanks for clicking on my video. So as you can see, we had a little change of scenery because it's a beautiful fall day on the West Coast, and because of that, the lighting was super not right in the room that I usually film in. So this is my living room, and this is my mantle, and you guys are gonna get to see all that today. This video is gonna be all about the Navigator app. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that I've posted a video on how to use the Navigator app before you get on the cruise. This video is all about how to use it once you're already on the boat, and also if you are going to be going on your first cruise and you kind of want to understand how do I know what's going on each day, this video will help you figure out that and piece together a plan. So if that sounds interesting, please keep watching. First off, I want to give a shout out to a couple people that have been super supportive of my channel. Denise, Just Itinerary, you guys have been so supportive and it really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. For everybody else, I really try to put videos together that have really good quality content and that you could watch a year from now and still be able to look at it and get some good ideas for your next trip or your next cruise. And also just, you know, if you haven't been able to go on a trip for whatever reason, whatever's going on in your life, I want to be able to connect you to kind of what my experiences are so you can feel like you're also going on vacation and you're also getting a break from kind of the stress of the world. And that's why I do what I do. So thank you so much to all of those that have been really supportive and sharing my videos. I really appreciate that. And also, if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. To begin, let's assume that you don't know what the Navigator is, okay? So on any cruise ship, there's usually an agenda that is given out while you're on the boat, and it tells you the day-to-day activities. And it's very important to look at this. I used to love going into my stateroom every night and seeing the Navigator on the bed. On the Disney Cruise Line, they've now created an app that you can use. And I do want to tell you that I do really like the app, but I am still old-fashioned. I'm the girl that goes and...
Bobby,
Yeah.
can you give me some, I want Thomas to friends on your phone. Can I go potty?
A little bit about me. I'm definitely that girl that will have the printout version of my plane ticket whenever I travel. Something about having something in my hand like makes me feel a little bit better about whatever I'm doing. Let me rewind. The Navigator app is the app that Disney has put together so that you can see all of your plans, the things that you pre-planned, all of the activities that are going to be happening on the boat, maybe some information on where you're going and safety. All of that is going to be on an app. Now I will tell you, on previous cruises they had the Navigator readily available and they would deliver it to your room. Between this last cruise that I went on in September, October, and then the previous cruise from May, I will tell you that I did not get a Navigator delivered to my room at any point. I had to go and physically get the Navigator from the customer service or the guest services desk in order to have that in hand. That brings me to a really good point that I want to make. Okay, so you have the Navigator app itself, and you can download that off of any application that lets you, like the App Store or something on an iPhone. You can download that on your phone, and I recommend doing that ahead of time. But once you get on the boat, you can go to guest services and you can ask for a Navigator and they will give it to you. They also have like a little area on the side of the desk where they have a couple stacked there, so sometimes you can just walk up and grab them. You don't have to wait in line. You can also request it through your cabin steward. You could ask them if they could bring you the Navigator every night. I didn't do that, and maybe I should have did that now in hindsight, but you can do that and they will do it. They're, like I mentioned in several videos, Disney's all about customer service. So you could definitely get that option if that's what you prefer. I also want to bring up a couple things. So depending on where you are on the boat, they have monitors that list out activities that are going on. If you go by the Kids Club, by the Oceaneers Club, there's a monitor right there and it has a picture of actually your boat and where you are as far as location, how far along you are to getting to your destination, but it will also list maybe like the next 8 activities that are going to be coming up in that hour. So you can see that there. You can also see the character greetings on deck 3 right by guest services, right along the main elevators. There's some monitors there and it constantly lists what the next character greetings are. And then another big thing that I want to bring up, and I mentioned this in my other video about the Disney Wonder renovation details, there's now a Navigator available through your television. I will warn you though, the Navigator was not correct on the TV. There was a pin trading event that was listed for that evening. I told my husband and my kid, they were super excited. And then we went down there and nobody was there. So I went and talked to guest services and they said, oh, that's not tonight, that was a mistake. Now I will say we were on the first cruise, the premiere cruise, after the renovations were done and after all the updates were completed. So maybe that was just a technical glitch that only I experienced. If you've been on the Wonder lately and you saw the same thing, please leave me a comment so I can know if that's something that consistently has been happening or if it was just a one-off thing. But moving forward, once they get it all figured out, you can look at the daily activities on the Navigator in your room. Now, will that eliminate the paper navigators? We don't know. We can just speculate on if that's gonna happen. I think it could, but maybe not, because, you know, like, I'm old school-ish, and I feel like there's other people that would probably really like the paper copy, so they probably won't get rid of it altogether, but they definitely are trying to keep up with the times and make things a little bit more electronic. That being said, the Navigator app itself was really good. I didn't have any problems with, you know, it's saying that there was an event and then there not being an event, but that brings me to another thing. When I was on my other cruise, we were speculating on if they were going to do a premiere for Aladdin, because Aladdin came out in the States while we were on the boat. The last day of our cruise would have been the night that it premiered. And on the Navigator and on your app, it didn't mention anything about the premiere the entire time. However, the night before they decided to premiere it, which was 2 nights before we got off the boat, it popped up on our app. And I never actually went to go compare it to the paper version to see if it was updated there, but it was definitely on our app, and it was really interesting because it was on our app, but it was not on the paper list of what movies were going to be playing in the theater. It was not there until the day that it actually happened. Whereas on the app, I saw it ahead of time, so I told my family we knew where to go. We got to decide between going through the theater and going to the Walt Disney Theater and seeing it. It was a great experience, but just something to think about. The app can give you sometimes an upper hand because they can automatically update that, whereas a paper print copy, they have to literally go print it and then pass that out. Things to think about. All right, so let's get back into the app. The app itself, like I mentioned, you want to make sure you download it. You can use it for different things previous to the cruise, but one thing right before, the night before your cruise, you'll notice that your ability to see things on the app itself will change. I actually got a message that said, when you go on the cruise, make sure you connect to Wi-Fi. Turn your phone on airplane mode and connect to DCL guest. And that was all I could really see for like the first couple hours before I actually got to the pier. One thing I want to bring up again, they're going to give you a paper navigator when you check in at the boat. On the back of there will be a little free data package, and it will kind of tell you how to get this free data package. And you essentially just go in, connect to Wi-Fi, turn your phone on airplane mode, and then when you click on package, it will take you to an Internet Explorer browser, put in some information, and ta-da, you have a little bit of data that you can use on the boat. It's not a lot. You're not going to be able to like stream, you know, The Lion King or anything like that, but you will definitely have a little bit of data in case you want to maybe send a picture or two to your mom or your aunt or whoever. When you open the app on your phone after you've gotten on the boat, you'll notice a couple things. There'll be a little icon with a miniature boat and kind of like the little location marker. You can click on that and you can look at every single deck as you did previously before getting on the boat, and you can find where everything is. I think that's really helpful, especially if you're trying to find your room. Super useful. One thing that would be really cool, but maybe kind of weird for some people, is if it told you where you were in correlation to where you were going and gave you directions, but I don't know, maybe that will happen in the future. Another thing that you'll see is your room number, your information, and there'll be a My Plans section, and you can click on that and see all the things that you signed up for. As you add things to your daily agenda, it will now show up in the My Plans section. So you can actually see, hey, what did I want to do before I got on the boat? What did I sign up for? So you're going to see the Palo brunch there, you're going to see Palo dinner, you're going to see the adult tastings, you're going to see your nursery arrangements or your reservations there. Anything that you signed up for ahead of time, Frozen greeting, Princess gathering, all of that, it's going to show up there. And as you go through the daily activities, which is the best part, I feel like, of the app, you can add on whatever you want. So the daily activities is kind of like a one place dump it all location. It's going to show you every single thing that's happening on the boat. If it is a gathering with the characters, if it's something for the kiddos, the Oceaneers Club, the Oceaneers Lab, Vibe, Edge. If there's like a special party, there was a Descendants dance party on our last cruise, which is awesome. Side note, I think Descendants 3 has the best soundtrack. I said it. It's really good. I literally cannot get over Queen of Mean, and they keep doing like remixes to it, and I'm loving it. So back to what I was saying. They had the Descendants party, and they also have the tastings listed on there, and that should give you a red flag right there. It will show you everything available on the boat, but it does not mean that you can actually do it. The tastings, like I mentioned, if you didn't sign up for that ahead of time, or if you didn't go straight to guest services desk right when you got on the boat and make your reservations, you can't actually just go there. Additionally, we learned the hard way with the Vibe and Edge activities. If it's not during an open house, you cannot go there. It will put it there because, you know, like I said, children also can have a cell phone and download the app, and they can like and heart what they want to do. And you can now see what is available, but that does not mean that you get to do it. If you don't fit into that age group, or if it's something that you were supposed to sign up ahead of time, you can't do it. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. It does what it's supposed to, which it tells you what's going on the boat. It doesn't actually tell you Palo brunch and Palo dinner. You have to actually see that in the dining experience, but I get ahead of myself. We're gonna get there. In closing, everything is listed in the daily activities, everything that you want to know. If you like something, push a heart on it, okay? And that will automatically move it from the activities area to your plans. So now what you want to do daily is corresponding on one list. I mentioned again that when we got on the boat, the app was not working for us. So we could not heart what we wanted to do on the Disney Wonder, and we could also not see what our plans were. I then was talking to somebody in the comment section, and they were mentioning, yeah, always print out the Navigator, which that's a good idea. Grab a printed copy of the Navigator, but also maybe print out your plans in the event that you do get on the boat and you suddenly don't know, you know, what you said you were gonna do and when you were gonna do it. I had to go to guest services and have them basically list out everything I planned for and what time I did it, and I had to get a copy that way. It would have been way better if I had just printed it out ahead of time, but I mean, I wasn't anticipating there to be any problems because I didn't have problems with the app the last cruise. But stuff happens. It's a reminder, you know, have a paper copy of the Navigator and print out your plans before you get on the boat. The daily activities section on the app also has a capability that I don't think very many people know, but if there's something that you like, there is a possibility to click on it and it will tell you what the description of it is, but also it will show you a schedule. Some stuff is just only gonna do one of them on the boat. So for example, the Descendants party was a one-time thing. There was a silent party, that was a one-time thing. But let's say it's like a character greeting or a princess gathering, there might be multiple times, and it also tells you where that activity is taking place. And you might get into a situation where the same thing is happening, but it's happening in different areas at different times. And so then it's kind of cool because you can decide and prioritize what you would like to do. And let's say you're having dinner at Animator's Palette and you want to do a character greeting that's very close to your dinner location, you can kind of see where everything is falling into place and decide. So it's very good in that way on helping you connect with what you want to do for the day. But I will tell you, like, you should spend or at least think about committing a little bit of time the night before to look through everything for the next day. Because once you get on the boat and you get in that routine, you're getting up, you're eating, you're going to the pool, you're dropping the kids off, you're doing whatever, it goes fast. I mean, a lot of people say their vacation feels like it goes so fast. If you can minimize the amount of time when you're in there trying to do the planning and pre-plan, I recommend doing that. The cool thing about the daily activities is there's actually also an itinerary. You can actually see day by day where you're going, where you're stopping, and when you're getting on and off the boat. There's also a section there that will tell you the weather at the location. We started in Vancouver and it said we left at 4, and then the next day we arrived in Victoria at 7 in the morning and everybody had to be back on board by like 3. That information was there, and then we had days at sea. And it's really nice to just be able to see day by day where you're going, day at Caesar, so you can plan. Maybe there's something specifically that you want to do while you're on the boat at the day at sea and you don't want to miss it, but then you're like, oh, well, I have 2 day at seas. Let's see if there's duplicates of that activities, because maybe this one activity is just on a Wednesday and you can see Goofy on Wednesday and Thursday. It's really nice in that regard because it correlates the itinerary daily, and then of course the daily activities, but then also from the daily activities, there's sections that take all the information that's in the daily activities and breaks it up into categories. So the first category after daily activities that you'll see is the character gradings. This is incredibly important to me and my family, right? Because one of the things with a Disney cruise that makes it so special is you're on a cruise, which is awesome, but the characters are there, okay? And I will tell you, I was heartbroken because I was watching a vlog for an Alaska cruise that was right before the dry dock, and they had a Pixar Pals or Pixar event. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna see the Pixar characters. I was so excited. And then for our cruise, they didn't have that. They just had the classic characters, and then, you know, of course, Captain Hook and Smear there because of Pirate Night. And there were a few other characters that were cool to see, but I was super sad that they didn't have that. And it's because I believe the shorter cruise versus the longer cruise, but it is really nice to be able to see the characters that are going to be available and where they're going to be available. I will also say, because if it's a shorter cruise, I think it's a little bit more aggressive to see the characters. The lines seemed a lot longer than if you have a very, very, very long cruise, because people have more time to space out when they're gonna go see people, or they might hit it all at the beginning and at the end, just kind of enjoy the boat. Everybody has their own way of doing things, but it is nice to see the characters all listed out by that day. And you can also skip ahead and see, you know, I wasn't able to see the doctor, not embarrass myself and look her up. Doc McStuffins. Sorry, ma'am. I should have remembered your name. It's really nice to be able to prioritize when you're going to see the characters. The next area that's going to be available is dining. I think this is pretty cool because it kind of tells you everywhere that you can eat. And I was on Reddit and there was a video about, hey, I'm going on a cruise, a Disney cruise, and I'm kind of worried I'm going to be hungry. But this is really nice because it lists out everything that's available. So Pinocchio's Pizzeria is on there, Cabanas is on there, the dining rooms are on there. It's also really nice to see if you aren't a buffet person, you can actually eat in the dining room itself. You can eat in Triton's for breakfast and for lunch. And that's really nice to have the sit down option. And sometimes you do get a little bit different food than you would in the buffet. I didn't really see that for breakfast. Breakfast was pretty consistent, but for lunch you could do that. Also, on some cruises they have a special brunch menu in the restaurant versus if you're going to be in the buffet area. That's very nice, and it's really cool to see the times and also what's available, because maybe you don't have time to walk around and kind of look for something to eat. You want to plan it out ahead of time, and that's really great to see that. Room service is on there as well. And also the ice cream that's available, and you know, all of that information, where it's located. And also it's kind of cool because you can see that and then go over to the main page, like I told you, click on the icon for the boat and kind of visually see where it is on that deck. I love it. It all pairs together really well. I forgot to mention that the lounge information is listed with the dining information, and that's really nice. You'll see the new French Quarter Lounge on there if you are on the Disney Wonder, and if you click on that, you can see the schedule for all the activities that are going to be going on there. And also the D Lounge is on there. It will tell you like when the Disney Vacation Club meetings are and the schedules for that. And it's just one stop area for you to just go see what's going on in all of the different areas, and also the adult areas. I didn't really get to hang out in the adult area too much on the last couple cruises I've been on. So next cruise I'm hoping that I can spend a little bit more time on there. That's going to be on the Fantasy next year. That's something fun to look forward to. The next area that is available on the app to look at is the spa. You can find information on the spa hours. I actually don't think you can book through the app once you get on the cruise. You can do that ahead of time when you're using the Navigator app, but you can't do it once you're on there. So click on there, see what they have, and then call down and schedule whatever treatment you want to have. But also make sure you ask if there's going to be any specials. Next area is going to be the youth club area. This is super helpful because if it is your first cruise, or maybe if your child is transitioning from one age group to the next, you might get really good at understanding like It's a Small World Nursery's way of doing things, or Oceaneers, which you don't really understand how Vibe or Edge works, or even where they're located. This is really nice because it will give you the hours, and it will also give you where they're located on the boat. And I will tell you, like I said before, the daily activities has the activities that are going to be happening in the different areas. For example, I mentioned that we weren't able to see the Pixar characters, but in the Oceaneers Club they had Jessie come there, and there was something on there that said like meet with Jessie or fun with Jessie, and I was like, hey, you need to be there. Also, when they had the open house event, they had Spider-Man come. Now, we didn't get to see Spider-Man outside of that event. There was no meet and greet with him, but you could go to the open house and see Spider-Man in the Oceaneers Club, and he did talk to the kids and take pictures for a little while after he did his thing in the Marvel area. So that's really, really cool to kind of look at. You as an adult might not be able to attend, but if your kid is within that age group, it's really nice to like plan to send them and let them experience that, because that's another extra thing. They get exclusive things in their individual club. The next item on there is the pool information. Okay, I like the pool, but I'm not at the pool all the time. Now my sister, which you met in my previous videos, she loves the pool. Like her routine is consistent. Like she'll wake up, she'll eat her green apple, she'll work out, and then she'll go change and go to the pool. And she'll stay there like all day. Like that's fun for her. Also, fun fact, my husband is from SoCal, so he's all about the beaches and the water and all that. He loves the pool, so he could also do the same thing, sit at the pool all day long. So he's definitely gonna go look at the schedule and see what's open. Your cruise has special slides or aqua dunk or anything like that. It's gonna tell you the hours for those activities as well. And it's also nice because sometimes weather will cause them to be closed. So you might wanna check, because you might say it's open and you go up there and it's too windy, or there's somewhere and they won't let you go on that slide. But it's good to know, and it's still really nice to have that information on your phone. Maybe you didn't know. Side note, if you've been on like a Carnival cruise, I don't know why, I've been on a ton of Carnival cruises, I always randomly would discover a pool at the very end of my cruise. Like, oh, I had no idea that this was over here. This would have been cool to know. Now, it could be myself. Maybe I wasn't doing enough research, but it is really nice. If you've been on a Carnival cruise recently and they now have an app that will say where everything is, similar to the Disney app, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, I'm definitely going to Google it after this video. But yeah, it's really nice to see where your aqua experiences are located on the boat. After you check out the pools, there's also a sports and recreation area, and this is really nice. I really had a good time. It was like evening before sunset, and my family and I were looking on the app and we saw the sports and recreation tab. We clicked on it and we had totally forgotten that there was a basketball court at the top of the boat. So we went up there, and it was such a small thing, but I just remember it, and it was just so beautiful. I just love that dusk. You know, just like right before, I don't know, I'm that way. Fall's my favorite season. I just love when things are settling, and it was just so beautiful to go up there and play basketball and look off of the back of the boat and just look at the water. It's just beautiful. So that's pretty cool. If you click on the sports and recreation, you can find out if your cruise has additional things, like maybe there's golf or something like that on your boat. Also, there's a lot of different stuff that's listed there that might not be expected. The Port Adventures desk, hours and location is listed in the sports and recreation area, which I guess makes sense if you're gonna like book something for one of your shore excursions. But they also have the duplication of the Oceaneers Club and the labs and vibe and all of that. And then you'll find the pool information there as well. It's the same thing from the pool section and then the club section, but it's in the sports and recreation. Another different way to search. Next section is a shopping section on the app, and it's really nice. I have seen Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique in Disneyland. At least in my experience, like I've been able to go inside the door and look around before, you know, people are in there. They don't normally like to have people that are not booked in that area because of the protection for the children, and also just to make the experience more unique for the child, right? She doesn't want to be getting her ponytail put in and, you know, you're over here trying to like look around or take pictures. But the reason I was able to locate it was because I looked on the app, and the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is listed as a shopping experience. And then you have Mickey's Mainsail, Sea Treasures, there's photo galleries listed, and then White Caps, and it tells you the hours and the locations. Now I will tell you that the shops are not open when you are docked, because one of the benefits of being on a Disney cruise and purchasing things is you can get tax-free additional discounts that they can't offer when they're at port, but when you're at sea you can go and shop and get all of your things, your heart's content. I've walked through the boat icon and how you can look at that to see where everything is. I've walked through your itinerary, how you can see your plans, how you can see the daily plans for the cruise. And another thing I want to bring up that's super fun is the chat that's available through the app. One of the things that has always been really frustrating for me, I travel with large groups most of the time. This past cruise, it was just me, the hubby, and the kids. But normally we travel in huge groups, and we didn't have any way of communicating on the boat. If we were at land, maybe we could like call each other, but it would cost money and data. It was really hard to keep track of where everybody was. Now, one thing I recommend when you're in a big group, download the app. Everybody stand together in a huddle, put your room number information in there, and click on the people you want to add everybody as the app working, and they're all linked in the chats. So you can talk to people and say, hey, I'm heading up to the pool, or I'm going to be at dinner late, or hey, order me something from this place before it closes. All those capabilities are there. And then also the thing that I love about the app is they have these super cute emojis of all the characters. And I found myself just like using those to talk, like saying one word and then putting a bunch of like, you know, Peter Pan or something on there and like hoping people figure out what I'm trying to say. But I love that. Also, if you have children, they have wave phones in the room, and they sometimes mention carrying those around with you, but you don't necessarily have to, because they also can send you a message through the app and tell you what's going on with your children. For example, my youngest does not like childcare. He loves Disney cruises and he loves Disney, but even in the nursery, he's still gonna cry because he wants to be with mommy and daddy. We were getting messages that says he's fussy, but they're working on it. And so maybe like I would just go down there and go check in, or like give him a hug or talk to him. If he's very upset, I'm just gonna take him out, right? You know, that's more important that my kid's happy. For you to know what's going on with your children. Also, if your child is in one of the clubs and they don't have the checkout capabilities, they can actually request to be picked up. And that's really nice too. If your child's self-aware and they know that they're tired, or they know that they just don't want to be there anymore, they can reach out to you. And having this app is the best way, especially if you have it open while you're on the boat. Sure that you're getting their notifications. It will pop up right on your phone. A couple more things that I want to mention to you is the additional things that are available on the main screen of your phone when you're in the app. You can see your dining schedule. It's also available on your room view. And I wear my room key in my lanyard while I walk around the boat. But if you don't want to look there, there's a dining schedule, and it will tell you where you're eating. And also, if you have a reservation at Palo or Remy, it will put that information on there. And you can actually see, hey, I mention all the time, you can book your reservations ahead of time for dining. However, you don't know what you're going to be missing as far as the dining rotation goes. So you can see, I'm going to Remy this night, but I'm going to miss Major's Palette or something like that. And you can decide whether that's something you want to do. And I recommend doing that right when you get on the boat, so that you can go to Palo and edit your reservation or change days if you need to. There's an area called Ship Tips, and if you click on there, you'll see a whole list of safety items, packing information, maybe some port information there, and it's really, really helpful. There's a lot of information there. Click here and see information, and it will ease your worries. You can see safety reminders. There's a section for guests with disabilities, maybe some things that you need to know. Corridor etiquette, environmental messages, no reserved seats policy. This is actually one thing I did really like about Disney. I know a lot of cruise ships say, you know, don't go and put like your towels out on the benches for like 30 people. But Disney, I have seen them go up to people and ask about reserving the seats by the pool, or also in the theater. That's one thing that they do not play with. You cannot show up in the theater and reserve a whole row and tell people that the seats are taken and think that that's fine. They will not accept it. I was actually sitting there and we were getting ready to see the Frozen show, and there was 2 teenage girls that had reserved a whole row of seats, and they were like, hey, we're sorry, but if your guests don't get here within 5 minutes, we're gonna have to ask you to release these seats because we do not have reservation policies. So then the teens were calling, and come to find out their entire party wasn't gonna show up anyways, and they didn't know that. But they ended up moving, and other people got to use those seats. But Disney does not play around with that. And, you know, if you're the one reserving the seats, obviously it's gonna not be, you know, the best thing for you, but I think it's a pretty cool policy and a fair policy. In the Ship Tips area, you can also find information on smoking and the Walt Disney Theater. In the dining area too, when you click on your dining schedule, it will tell you what the clothing recommendation is for that day. So it will say cruise casual or semi-formal or optional this, optional that, pirate night, whatever. It will give you that information too, and that's also very helpful if you're trying to plan out your wardrobe, or if you aren't sure on what you should be wearing to dinner. The last thing I'm going to talk about that's on the app is the debarkation. The debarkation information, okay? I was on a holiday cruise on Carnival in December of last year. We did a Disney World trip after Christmas. Actually, it was through Christmas, and we did a cruise right before that. And I was really confused because I've been on a ton of cruises and I always got tags to my room and information on putting my suitcase out the night before. Well, we didn't receive the tabs. We thought that was kind of weird. Tags. And we thought it was kind of weird, but we were thinking, okay, well, maybe they just haven't brought them yet. Well, come to find out, on that cruise, we were supposed to go ask for them ourselves. And because of that, we couldn't take our bags, like have our bags sent down. We had to carry them off. It was a blessing in disguise though, in a way, because we've never carried off before, and we learned about the carrying off process. While a little bit difficult with children and a group of 13 people and a lot of bags, getting off in a location you're not familiar with, not super fun. However, it was very fast. And we ended up going and getting our breakfast, eating it in the room, and then getting off the boat right away. And we've never been off the boat that quickly. That is, you know, my little personal story, but in the debarkation information, they list how to get off the boat and the process for that. They talk about breakfast and the dining rotation. One thing that Disney does different on the morning that you get off the boat is if you have a early or late dining, you can go to the restaurant that you ate in the night before. We ate in Tiana's place on the last cruise the night before, so we had the option of eating breakfast in Tiana's place the day we got off the boat. We were too tired to do it, so we ended up eating at the buffet instead. However, that's super cool. One, because Tiana's place isn't normally open for breakfast, and two, it's nice to have a sit-down experience, put your carry-on bags to the side and just kind of let them serve you one last time. That's really nice. I do want to mention though that if you do early seating, normally for dinner, then you have the early seating and the breakfast, which was really early. It was like 7 o'clock. But it's still kind of nice to have that option in the morning. But it does list out that information if you click on the embarkation section. Also information on luggage, how you're gonna get your luggage once you get off the boat. Express walk-off, so I talked about that. It would have been nice to read about that, but because I lived it, I now understand how express walk-off works, but maybe it's different on a Disney cruise. Let me know. I've never done it on a Disney cruise. I only have done it on a Carnival cruise, so there's that. U.S. Customs and Border information, and that will vary depending on where you are going, and it's important to read that. Our experience when we got off our 13-night cruise in Spain was completely different than all of our other cruises where we've just gotten back in the United States. U.S. Customs allowance, very important, so information on how much money you can bring back and how many goods you can purchase and then bring back, especially since you're getting the incentive for tax-free or maybe a discount rate. You want to make sure you read that if you've purchased a lot of things. Transportation information is also available there. You can pre-book your shuttle, or I guess like your bus, from the boat to wherever you're going. So whether it be maybe a Disney hotel for those of you that are doing an Orlando cruise, or to the airport, that information is there as well. The Shutter's photo gallery information is listed there too. That is important if you have the photo package and you paid for all of your photos. It is kind of important, not kind of, it's important you go up there in the morning and you get, if you do the USB stick, get that USB stick or your book printed out. The activities information are available as well. As far as I know, all the youth clubs are closed the last morning. You cannot go drop your kid off and go to breakfast, but you can read up on the youth activities information. Lost and Found is also found in this section. Lost and Found. Settling your onboard account is listed here. Alcohol pickup location, so if you purchased alcoholic beverages and Whitecaps, you have to pick it up the last day of your cruise, or if there was a place that you went and you purchased alcohol, they don't just like you take it to your room, they hold it for you. Important that you go and understand when you can pick that up and how. I said it was the last thing, but it's not the last thing. The biggest thing, 10% off your next cruise. You can book your next cruise and get 10% off an onboard credit, or you can put a hold on your next cruise, and you can do that through the boat while you're on the cruise, but click on your app and it will give you the times and the location for where you can go do that deposit or book your next cruise. I recommend doing that. Even if you don't know, it's a $250 deposit, and I believe it's good for 2 years, so you have time to think about it. It is the best value because you're going, especially if you're booking something like 2 years in advance, or you can't go that far, but like a year and a half in advance, right when the itineraries open up, that is going to be a 10% discount, the lowest price that they're offering at that time, and you get the onboard incentive. Additionally, the really nice rooms might not be available if you try to hesitate and wait till later, or maybe you're playing like around with what you want to do. I do recommend, if you're going to book, do a deposit, or if you know you're going to do another Disney cruise, do that deposit or book it ahead of time while you're on the boat for your next one. And they usually give you a reduced deposit as well. We booked our cruise on the Fantasy on our Magic cruise, and we got a reduced deposit. All right, everybody, so I have brain dumped everything that I've learned about the Navigator app on the Disney boat. If there's something that I missed or something that you think is really cool about the Navigator app, please feel free to write it in the comments section. And I am going to change my greeting because I realize it's similar to somebody else. So I'm gonna go ahead and change it and just say thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.